Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let us march on till victory. Let us march on till victory. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers come to the place for which our fathers come to the place for which our fathers sigh. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever, oh, in the path. Keep us forever, oh, in the path. Keep us forever, oh, in the path. We pray, we pray, we pray. From out of the gloomy past till now we stand at last. We pray.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my favorite Thursday of the month. This is Past the Scope EDU, as we bring to you every third Thursday a new topic, a new opportunity to reflect, which brings us to what our topic is this month: reflect, reset, and revamp. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am Brian Romero Smith, and I do apologize. I do have about half of my voice. It has been a very, very active week for me, but I am super, super excited to continue on with the wonderful messages that have been delivered throughout the day for Past the Scope EDU. If you have not taken the chance to share your story or allow us to amplify your voice, please consider that next month as we come to you, like I said, every third Thursday. It's a great community. But allow me to just spend a little bit of time with you this evening. That what you saw earlier was just a project that I'm beginning to work on. Thank you to Albert Thomas at Edu Co-Pilot, who is a phenomenal photographer for capturing images from the Black Lives Matter marches and rallies throughout the city. And we just decided to go ahead and reprise Lift Every Voice, which is considered for many the Negro National Anthem, and just mix it up a little bit to help tell the story that these images so strongly carry. And as I look at these images, I can't help but to reflect, on the current mood in society. To be honest with you, I'm one of those people who believes that in order for something to be reshaped, into what it's supposed to be, what it's been called to be, it has to be broken first. And we are at this point as a country, as a society, as a culture, to where we are broken. But I do feel the remolding, the reshaping, the rebuilding. I'm very, very hopeful to what is going to be the ultimate outcome. The outcome may not be tomorrow. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next month. It's not going to be next year. This is a journey that we're currently embarking upon. And I'm very, very pleased at what I have been able to see. Many of the people, especially in this community, joining together, realizing what's really important. That's the human nature. And the ending of the senseless violence against Black lives. So that's my reflection, with those particular images. It brings me back to all the stories that I would hear my parents tell me about the movement, about the struggles that they had to go through in order for me to be able to have an existence to where there wasn't any fear of being Black. But the unfortunate part is, that's still the case. So I'm in this position to where I'm trying to reset that particular frame of mind. I've got kids. I've got 2 boys. I've got 2 girls. And I've got a boy who's starting to drive, and having those conversations with him, that become more of a priority, unfortunately, within our community, even sometimes over that sex talk. But to help him understand how he needs to respond if someone chooses to act ignorant. I have to have that talk, and I shouldn't, but I do. So we're trying to reset those conversations at my dinner table, reset them in a way that reflects upon our history. And I think that's one of the keys to understanding, what's really happening is we have to understand what has already happened and the sins that we continually to repeat. It's like a cycle, all of this is like a cycle. And it's funny that I heard someone make a statement, I don't remember who, but he says the enemy knows your mistakes better than you do. He knows your temptations better than you do. He knows your faults better than you do. That's why he keeps putting it in your face so you can continue to be in cycles. So we're trying to reset that at my table with my family, but we have to expose the wrongs first in order to do that. And then we have to dig deep into our history. One of the ways that we are doing that is we are reliving Juneteenth. Today is Juneteenth Eve. I heard the Tutul say that earlier today. But tomorrow is Juneteenth. And for those who don't know what Juneteenth is, I will end the show explaining that in just a moment. But we're actually having a nice little family celebration, still practicing social distancing, but we're having a couple of families over to teach our kids. We all have young kids and older kids, but teach our youth what Juneteenth is and how we celebrated Juneteenth when I was growing up as a kid. I remember the first time I had heard of Juneteenth, and it wasn't, and here's the unfortunate part, it wasn't in any of my history books. I live in the state of Texas, and Texas history is huge. But it's funny how the mentioning of the hiding of the freedom of slaves is not in any of those textbooks. It's not. Neither one of my kids who have gone through that standardized testing over Texas history ever were tested upon that particular fact. And it's a part of Texas history. Anyway, like I said, I'll show you what Juneteenth is in just a second. So we're resetting those conversations, and how we're doing. And then after we reset those conversations, we're actually revamping our movement. My daughter and I, we have pledged to go on a help people to register to vote campaign. She's a newly eligible voter, and we're going to create this task that she can take back to college with her. And use her platform as an RA. She will be an RA next year. We're going to utilize that platform to talk about the importance of voting, especially going into this November election, and understanding, their rights and the policies, and doing the research, and really advocating for people to get out and actually vote. And she's becoming pretty energetic about it, and I'm super excited about it. But if this would not have happened, I'm not sure if we would be having those conversations. And that's the interesting thing about it. So we're revamping our movement in regards to getting her to be an advocate now, be a student agent for change. And that has captured the attention of my other 3 kids. So now they're interested, even though none of them can actually vote, but they're interested in what it is that they can actually do to enforce change. So we'll be talking this weekend with the other families of what our kids can actually do, and how we can actually amplify their voices in a very safe way. But anyway, like I said, we're doing all that on a Juneteenth celebration. And the first time, like I said, when I celebrated Juneteenth when I was a kid, it was back in Kansas City, Missouri. And they did it up. We went down to 18th and Vine, which is our jazz district. The music is blaring, and, but it was also that time where people reflected on where we came from, and looked at where we are, and then realized where we actually still need to go. And as a kid, that has always had a major impact on me. But I must say that I really didn't bring up my kids in that particular manner. So that revamp starts today and into tomorrow. So, I won't, belabor any longer, because my voice is actually really getting tired right now. However, I do want to explain to you what Juneteenth is. And the way that I do it is through music. Many of you know that I work for a wonderful company called Flocabulary and Nearpod. And Flocabulary has put together a fantastic video to explain to you what Juneteenth is. And I would like to play that for you right now.
Yeah. 1865, June 19. You know what I mean?
1865,
1865,
June 19.
June 19.
This is the day that the
slave became free.
Celebrating Juneteenth.
Celebrating Juneteenth.
Every June of the year.
Every June of the year.
Honoring the voice of those who are here. 1865,
1865,
June 19.
June 19.
This is the day that the
slave became free.
Celebrating Juneteenth.
Celebrating Juneteenth.
Every June of the year.
Every June of the year.
Honoring the voice of those who are here.
As we reflect upon the Civil War, slavery was the major issue that it was fought for. And on January 1, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation said slaves were free. And 2 years later, slavery was made illegal when Congress passed the 13th Amendment. But the people of Galveston, Texas were the last to know. And we don't know the reason why the word traveled so slow. It was June 19, 1865, when the Union troops finally arrived to announce General Order Number 3, which was the official end of slavery. Now former slaves, they had to choose what would be the next step, what would be the next move. Some stayed on the same plantation, working out a deal to receive compensation. Others traveled to states nearby to find lost family members so they could reunite. And still more headed north cause it represented the freedom that they had fought for. And a year later, many former slaves returned with their families to Galveston, where they first learned that slavery was finally outlawed in this nation. And that was the first Juneteenth celebration.
1865,
1865,
June 19.
June 19.
This is the day
at first, former slaves and their families weren't allowed to use public spaces, so they would bring a crowd to people's backyards or to black churches. But as conditions changed, they saved money to purchase their own land to celebrate and get loose on, like Emancipation Park in Houston. It started in Texas, but it kept spreading faster. Today it's celebrated from Dallas to Alaska. People play ball, sing, dance, and fish. Plus it's barbecue, so you should bring a special dish. It's a time that you might sip a strawberry soda or sport some new clothes to make your family say. In 1980, Juneteenth was declared a state holiday in Texas, but it didn't stop there. Today it's a holiday in 45 states. It's a time to reflect and a time to celebrate.
So there you have it, a little history lesson from Vocabulary explaining what Juneteenth is. So as you see that it is celebrated in the majority of the states in our union, we still got to get to work on those other states who are not celebrating it. But hopefully, you know, with the things that are going on today, that there has been some reflection, time to reset and revamping and noticing Juneteenth. And forget what the president said. He did not make Juneteenth popular, regardless if he cut whatever rally that actually is. He has nothing to do with that. And yeah, I said it. Anyway, I thank you for joining us this evening. It has been lovely. I'm going to go rest my voice. Holla at y'all later.